Have you ever found yourself feeling, just completely overwhelmed, maybe battling that persistent self-doubt or just looking for a better way to live?
Oh, absolutely. That feeling, like you're already defeated. It's something pretty much everyone experiences at some point.
Well, today we're taking a deep dive into a real cornerstone of self-help literature, Norman Vincent Peale's The Power of Positive Thinking. It's often called a practical, direct action guide for personal improvement.
Yeah, and our mission here is really to pull out the key insights, the most surprising bits from this hugely influential book to find those actionable principles that can help you build a happier, more satisfying life.
Now, it's important to mention right at the start that Peele's work is deeply rooted in his Christian faith. We're focusing on the universal principles, but you'll hear how many techniques directly involve spiritual practices and biblical ideas.
Definitely. And his
Yeah.
core idea is pretty bold.
Yeah,
You're only defeated if you choose to be. The book basically promises to teach you how to will yourself not to be beaten down.
right. The idea that your thoughts can actually change your circumstances. So you're in control, not just reacting to things.
Exactly. It promises better relationships, better health, more effectiveness. Just a real keen pleasure in living, as he puts it, taking charge of your inner world to affect the outer one.
Okay, so let's unpack this first big hurdle, self-doubt. Peele argues it's not like a fixed state. It's more of a mental habit you can actually change.
hmm And the key takeaway seems to be this idea of deliberate, consistent affirmation. You're literally uh, retraining your brain for confidence.
What's really interesting is how he often traces these feelings back, sometimes way back to childhood.
And then offers a very direct path out based on this power of suggestion.
He shares this story, doesn't he, about a businessman just before a massive deal.
Yeah, totally dejected. He apparently said something like, I have a terrible disbelief in myself, no confidence. Why have I always been tormented by inferiority feelings?
And Peele's immediate advice, coming from his background as a minister, was an affirmation.
Right? Repeating the phrase, I can do all things through Christ, which strengtheneth me. Philippians 4.3. The man apparently said this simple formula just did wonders.
It really highlights that core concept, doesn't it? If your mind is stuck on insecurity, you need to feed it a steady diet of positive ideas. Repetitive suggestion, he calls it.
hmm And Peele's very open about his own struggles, too. Being thin, terrified of public speaking.
Yeah, he says he had to use every known device based on Bible teachings to build his own confidence. It drives home that point.
Yeah.
You build security or insecurity through your own thoughts.
There's another great example, the traveling salesman.
Oh, yeah, the one with the verses on his dashboard.
Exactly. Verses like, if ye have faith, nothing shall be impossible. And if God be for us, who can be against us? He consciously shifted his thinking from fear to faith, and apparently his sales shot up.
So it's about like turning your mind into a power-producing plant.
That's the idea.
Yeah.
So for you, listening, it means actively choosing where you put your focus. The book gives some really practical steps for this.
Like never dwelling on the worst. Instead affirming, I expect the best, and with God's help, we'll attain the best.
And consciously voicing positive thoughts to push out the negative ones.
Also, not mentally inflating obstacles. Try to minimize them in your mind.
Yeah, and stop being overly awestruck by others. The book has that great line, nobody can be you as efficiently as you can.
And finally, if it runs deep, maybe seek counseling to understand where that self-doubt actually comes from.
So building on that self-belief, Peele gets into finding inner peace and tapping into this boundless energy.
Right, and what's fascinating here is the connection he makes between our internal state and our actual physical energy.
If you think about it, so many modern issues, stress, burnout, they often come from emotional turmoil, not just physical work. He offers a way to plug those energy leaks, basically.
He tells that story about the man at 52 who felt completely finished, lost everything.
Yes, and Peele helped him list what he still had: wife, kids, friends, integrity, health, faith.
Just that simple act of reappraising his assets shifted his perspective, made him realize he wasn't as defeated as he thought.
It points to that principle. How you think you feel directly impacts how you actually feel physically. If your mind is engaged and positive, you can keep going much longer.
Like the story of the salesman who was super high-strung, taking nerve medicine that wasn't working.
Right. Finds a hotel Bible, reads the 23rd Psalm, He leadeth me beside the still waters, falls asleep, and wakes up feeling totally refreshed.
Peaceful, yeah. He started carrying a Bible after that. Apparently he felt much less nervous. It really speaks to the power of focusing on peace.
Peale actually outlines techniques for this. One is mind emptying. He describes it as getting peace as a gift from God.
But just emptying isn't enough, right?
Exactly. He stresses you have to immediately fill it with positive, healthy thoughts. Otherwise, the old worries just creep back in. Put up an occupied sign, essentially.
He also suggests actively thinking peaceful thoughts, picturing serene scenes, valleys, moonlight on water.
And even saying peaceful words out loud, like tranquility or serenity. He believed the words themselves have a kind of healing effect.
It's interesting how he flags the pace of modern life, too. The accelerated rate, the noise, how it wears down the mind and soul.
Definitely. He links that lack of inner peace directly to the constant noise and rush.
There's that great analogy of the grandfather clock.
Oh yeah, the slow, deliberate, there is plenty of time versus the frantic ticking of modern clocks.
It's like he's saying we need to find that God's tempo, that unhurried rhythm, even in our busy lives. Slow down.
So the takeaway really is about managing your inner pace in your environment. That's key for sustained energy, maybe even more than just grinding harder.
Which leads to the question, how do we actually do that? How do we build calm into daily life?
Well, he gives some really down-to-earth advice for what he calls easy power.
Like the story about the manufacturer watching a bird wake up.
Exactly. Slowly stretching, singing, eating. The man adopted that slow and easy start to his day, even singing hymns, and found it dissolved his morning tension.
It sounds simple, but effective.
And he recommends daily serenity breaks. Just stopping whatever you're doing for 10 or 15 minutes, especially when things are hectic, and practicing stillness.
Peale mentions doing this himself, right? Stopping his rush to dinner to just sit, read a psalm, and affirm peace.
Yeah. And there's a physical element, too, keeping physically still when you feel agitated.
Don't pace, don't wring your hands.
Right. He tells about a guy in a tense meeting who just lay down on a couch, saying it's hard to get mad lying down. It's about disciplining your physical reactions to cool the emotional ones.
And finally, there's this idea of the unseen partner.
Praying about your work, inviting God's help. Peale puts it bluntly, he knows more about your job than you do.
Okay, so moving from peace and energy, the book also tackles happiness, something everyone wants.
Mm-hmm. And his take is pretty provocative. He claims unhappiness is incredibly common and that a lot of it is actually self-manufactured.
Self-manufactured, wow.
Yeah, the idea that happiness is fundamentally a choice. He shares that story of the old man on TV.
The one asked his secret to happiness.
Yes, and he just said, when I get up, I have two choices, either to be happy or to be unhappy. I just choose to be happy. Simple, but profound.
It pushes back against that habit of manufacturing unhappiness, constantly expecting the worst, focusing on the negative.
Right. He gives that example of the cheerful traveler in the gloomy train car. Starts his day saying Psalm 118.24 aloud, "This is the day which the Lord hath made. I will rejoice and be glad in it."
And that positive declaration just changes the whole tone of his day. Happiness psychology, Peale calls it.
And connection plays a huge role too. Loving kindness. There's the story of Ralston Young, the red cap.
Oh, that's a lovely one. Comforting the woman in pain, not just physically, but with compliments, sharing his own story about prayer.
It illustrates that idea. Where God and love are, there is happiness.
There's also that business card with the way to happiness formula.
An Natter's card, yeah. It's like a mini guide. Keep your heart free from hate, mind from worry. Live simply, give much, fill life with love, scatter sunshine, forget self, think of others.
Try it for a week, he says, and you'll be surprised. It's quite a list.
It is. And Peale links this to our deep need to be liked, referencing William James. The desire to be appreciated is fundamental. So how do you become more likable?
He suggests being a comfortable person, easy to be around, natural, like old shoes.
Yeah, no strain. And then looking inwards to remove those scratchy elements.
What does he mean by scratchy?
Things like being overly critical, self-centered, rigid, maybe looking down on people.
Yeah.
Stuff we might do without realizing it pushes others away. Requires some honest self-assessment.
He also has that interesting idea. Pray around your little world.
Mm-hmm. Listing people you encounter, daily bus driver, colleague, whoever, picturing them, thinking kindly, maybe offering a quick prayer or good thought for them.
Sort of cultivating goodwill outwards.
Exactly. And finally, actively building up others, praising them, contributing to their self-respect. He calls the ego or personality sacred.
Like the man who consistently encouraged young people and earned their total devotion.
Right. It's about making others feel valued. He also lists practical things like remembering names, being genuinely interested, getting over yourself, essentially.
So pulling this together, the actionable idea is that we have this incredible inner power to tackle pretty much any problem.
Which really makes you question, doesn't it? Are the obstacles we face truly that huge? Or is a lot of their difficulty just, well, mental?
Like the golfing story, struggling in the rough.
Until the instructor says the rough is only mental. It is rough because you think it is. The power isn't in the grass, it's in your mind. You have to visualize getting out. Believe it.
That power of expectation is huge in the book. The Schlater bat story is wild.
Isn't it? This baseball team is losing constantly, just expecting to fail. Then a preacher apparently blesses their bats.
And suddenly they start winning like crazy, even win the championship.
But Peale's point is crucial. The bats didn't change. Their minds changed. Their expectations shifted from defeat to success.
It's powerful stuff. Then there's the trapeze artist's advice.
Throw your heart over the bar and your body will follow.
Applying that metaphorically, throw your faith, your positive affirmations, your visualization over the difficulty first.
And for specific problem solving, he talks about picturizing combined with prayer.
Like the woman whose marriage was struggling.
Yes, her minister advised her to vividly picture herself as capable and attractive and to hold a clear mental image of the relationship restored. She prayerized, picturized, and eventually things did heal.
He also really emphasizes God as an unseen partner, even in business.
Right, the story of the businessman near suicide who decides to take God as his partner. Suddenly, ideas start flowing, his business recovers.
Right.
Peale sees this partnership as the way to solve problems correctly.
So what's the strategy for us when facing problems, according to Peale?
First, refuse to dwell on the worst. Don't even think about it. Affirm the best outcome repeatedly. I expect the best, and with God's help, we'll attain the best. At least 10 times a day, he says.
Okay. What else?
Stand up to the obstacles. Do something. He believes you'll find they're weaker than you think. Something has to break, and it won't be you, it will be the obstacle.
I like that. Be proactive.
And watch your language. Cut out those little negatives. I'm afraid I'll be late. This probably won't work. They condition your mind negatively. Emphasize the positive instead.
That affirmation comes up again, too. I can do all things through Christ, which strengtheneth me. Use it daily for power.
Yes, and tackle problems one by one. Don't try to face the whole mountain range at once. Trim the branches before trying to fell the whole tree.
Makes sense. Break it down. Now, the book also makes a really bold claim about health.
Oh yeah, that our emotional and spiritual state has a profound, direct impact on our physical well-being.
It definitely challenges conventional thinking, or at least adds a huge layer to it. It makes you ask, how much illness is purely physical versus rooted in our thoughts and feelings?
Peale calls worry the great modern plague. He links it directly to things like arthritis, high blood pressure, heart issues, ulcers.
And anger, too. That sinking feeling isn't just metaphorical. He even mentions a doctor who supposedly died from a fit of rage.
Yikes. And he flags resentment, hate, guilt as direct causes of physical problems like eczema or chronic colds.
There's that stark example of the patient diagnosed with, what was it, gridgitis?
Yeah, gridgitis.
Ah.
A physician's term for how long-held hatred literally undermined the patient physically, leading to death. It's dramatic, but it makes the point forcefully.
So what's the solution then?
A dual approach. Use all the medical and psychological help available? Absolutely. But also integrate spiritual resources. He believed God works through both doctors and ministers.
He gives some pretty striking examples of healing.
Like the man with this supposedly incurable bone tumor, not overly religious, starts reading the Bible daily, feels this inner warmth and happiness, and the tumor disappears, astonishing the doctors.
And the power of forgiveness comes up again with Harold Sherman, the playwright.
Right? Developed a throat condition linked to intense bitterness towards someone who wronged him. When he consciously worked through the hate, replacing it with forgiveness, the condition cleared up.
So the actionable advice for health and healing.
Practice mind drainage daily, especially before sleep. Visualize anxieties and fears flowing out. Affirm, with God's help, I am now emptying my mind of all anxiety, all fear.
And then immediately refill, right?
Immediately fill it with faith, courage, peace, calm. Faith is the one power against which fear cannot stand, he writes.
He also suggests grievance drainage.
Pouring it all out to someone trustworthy until nothing is left, and praying for those who hurt you, repeatedly if necessary until the malice fades. One man did it 64 times.
Wow. Persistence. And when praying for someone who is sick,
Pray for the doctor to be guided, an open channel of God's healing grace. Crucially, avoid fear yourself, because that sends negative energy. Instead, hold a strong mental picture of the person well, radiant with God's love.
and finally, surrender.
Yes, completely surrender the person into God's hands. He suggests that healing is often unleashed when our desire for their life is matched by a willingness to trust God's will. It really underscores that deep connection, mind, emotions, body, spirit.
So wrapping this deep dive up,
Yeah.
what does it all really mean for you listening today? The power of positive thinking clearly isn't just about, wishing things were better.
Not at all. It's presented as a very pragmatic guide, a way to harness your mind, your spirit, to actually reshape your life's experiences.
The core message seems to be hammered home again and again. You can think your way to failure, or you can think your way to success and happiness.
Exactly. Your experience of the world is fundamentally shaped by the thoughts you habitually keep in your mind.
And Peale is very clear at the end of just reading the book isn't enough. It requires persistent practice.
He asserts that bringing in new thoughts will remake you no matter what difficulties you're facing right now.
So maybe a final thought to leave you with. What old, dead, unhealthy thoughts, as Peale might call them, are you holding on to right now, maybe without even realizing it?
And what new, vital, dynamic thoughts, perhaps rooted in faith, perhaps simply in determined optimism, could you start introducing today? How might your life actually change if you consistently practiced just one of these principles, maybe starting today just for this next week?